Google Plus Hangouts. My name is Zimugo Chukwu, and I'm the founder and CEO of Travel Noir. For those who are unfamiliar with Travel Noir, we're a platform dedicated to bringing unconventional travelers and helping them to discover their journey. And so what does that mean exactly? From dreaming up a new destination to planning how to get there to maximizing your experience while you're there, we are creating a suite of products to help you travel better, travel farther, and cheaper than you've ever imagined. And so this hangout is all about booking the vacation of your dreams for under $1,000, food, flight, and accommodations included. If you've watched our Google Plus Hangouts before and you've loved them, do us a favor and hit the little tiny I at the right corner of your video box. If you scroll over to the left after you click that I, you'll see a subscribe button. Once you subscribe, you'll receive updates whenever we upload new videos, making it simpler for you to sort of keep tabs on what we're doing. If you're on Twitter and Instagram, you can join the conversation by using the hashtag TN1K, where you can share your favorite itineraries and tips for snagging cheap flights and accommodations. If you haven't liked us on Facebook yet, we'll be hosting some really amazing giveaways, so be sure to head over there. Now we're going to move on to the good stuff. We've got 5 amazing curators, Madupe, Anthony, Jaleesa, Jessica, and Quinn, who will be giving you a brief introduction followed by a rundown of their itineraries. We are going to start with Anthony. So Anthony, tell us your name, where you are, what you do, and give us a sneak peek into your itinerary.
All right. Well, my name is Anthony. I am in Seattle, Washington, and I will run through a group trip to Costa Rica. And I think this is probably going to be the best group trip of all time.
Awesome. All right. Now we're going to move over to Jaleesa.
Hi, my name is Jaleesa Monet. I live in Ibiza, Spain, and I'm a marketing coordinator for the Intergroup. And my trip includes space jumping, a chocolate course, and doing yoga on the river.
Nice. All right, Jessica?
Hi, I'm Jessica. I'm from Texas, but I currently live in Washington, D.C., where I work in finance for a national trade association that's headquartered here. And I will be sharing the luxury romantic itinerary for 2.
Awesome. All right, Madupe.
Hi, I'm Madupe. I live in the Boston area. I have the budget itinerary, which will include volcanoes, crystal clear waters, and sailing the open seas.
All right, and last but not least, Quinn.
Hi, my name is Quinn Russell. I live in Florida, in Delray Beach, Florida. I have the Asia Getaway itinerary. I'm a travel blogger. I focus on luxury travel. My getaway is for 10 days. It's to Shanghai, and we'll be experiencing one of mainland China's largest museums. We'll go to a water town that's hailed as the Venice of the East, and we'll also spend a day at the Park Hyatt, which is the second highest hotel in the world.
All right, that's awesome. Okay, so let's get started. As you all heard, we have 5 itineraries: budget, Asia, group, Europe, and luxury. We will be making these itineraries available to everybody who's tuning in, so you'll be able to see firsthand through downloadable itineraries where everybody got their information, so that you can, plan your next amazing getaway. And so after everyone presents their itineraries, we'll be taking questions from the audience. You can click the Q&A button, and you will be able to ask us questions. And so the questions that sort of rise up to the top are the ones that we will be answering. So let's get started. Madupe is going to take us through her 1K vacation.
All right, let's get started here. So, are we good?
We are good.
All right, everybody. So thank you very much, Zim. My challenge for this hangout was to create a full budget travel itinerary for under $1,000. As I started my search, an amazing opportunity for a Caribbean escape emerged, and here is what I found. I'll be taking y'all to St. Lucia for 6 days and 6 nights where you'll live like the locals do and enjoy the essence of island life. You'll fly out of the New York City area, stay in a cozy apartment with incredible views, and enjoy some of the best activities, food, and entertainment the island has to offer. I used theflightdeal.com to find this great discounted airfare. Do not adjust your eyes. That says $207. This site is pretty different from comparison sites in that it operates by providing visitors with alerts. The alerts show major discounted fare from tons of U.S. airports for domestic and international travel. The only caveat is that you really have to book quickly in order to secure prices shown in the alerts. And then next I basically head over to Kayak or Orbitz to find the itinerary, and then I book the flight.
So what was the first engine that you used?
Theflightdeal.com. It's actually the icon down there in the bottom under resources used.
Got it.
All right. Next up, we have accommodations. I typically use sites like TripAdvisor to help me narrow down areas with the best neighborhoods, accessibility, safety, and things to do. Once narrowed down, I plugged in the Castries area of St. Lucia into Airbnb and settled on this amazing little gem. A fully equipped kitchen, fantastic views, restaurants just around the corner, Wi-Fi, and a 5-minute walk to the beach are just some of the great perks offered. The host even provides a pickup from the airport to and from the airport, and that basically allows you to keep even more money in your pocket. All right. Now, while days of resting and relaxation are definitely necessary on the island, definitely don't forget about your activities. Again, I use reviews from TripAdvisor to find the most popular and worthwhile activities. Island Riders is a great all-day activity that allows you to tour the island in a really unique way. On land, on water, on a horse. Mama, I'm on a horse. Meals and all alcoholic beverages and non-alcoholic beverages are completely included in this trip. I also have you visiting the only drive-in volcano in the Caribbean. When you visit the Sulphur Springs in St. Lucia, you will enjoy a day of hot springs, bubbling mud pools, and a relaxing day exploring one of St. Lucia's top tourist attractions. And last but not least, even though this is a budget travel, why not get more bang for your dollar? With the Wave Runner team, you'll spend the day sailing, snorkeling, and exploring the island of Martinique. This trip also includes food and beverages. I mean, I don't know about y'all, but 2 islands for under $1,000, that's a phenomenal way to get the most out of your travels. Now, on to the next, food. This is what I live for. This is the good stuff. Roti, barbecue, curry galore. You'll basically be eating like the locals do for incredibly cheap prices. Additionally, your apartment comes with a fully equipped kitchen, so cooking one quick, easy meal a day shouldn't be too time-consuming. Additionally, you also have local restaurants and bars where you're staying with great entertainment, live music while you're dining out. So you're basically going to sit back and take it all in and gain as much weight as humanly possible. So your final price tag, everything included, trip, transportation, accommodations, food, is coming down to, drum roll please, $966.80. Do not budge, my friends. That is the truth. That's not a bad way to travel for under $1,000, if you ask me.
All right. That is awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. So if you have any questions for Modupe, feel free to head over to the Q&A box and enter those questions in there. We are going to move on next to Jaleesa.
Okay. So for mine, I have Destination Europe, and I chose to take you guys to Berlin. Oh, can you see my screen?
Not yet.
You can see it now.
Nope.
Wait, hold on.
There
you
we
can see
go.
it now?
Perfect.
Okay. Okay. So I chose Berlin because it's not one of the typical choices that people choose whenever they go to Europe, like London, Paris, and Barcelona, but it's just as great, if not better. So the first thing is the flight. Our flight is only $514.68 to go from New York, New York to Berlin, Germany. And you stop over in Norway for 6 hours. So if you would like, you could leave the airport and go visit Norway for a little bit. And yeah. And next is the accommodations, and I chose Airbnb because Airbnb is great for first-time travelers or long-term travelers. You get the same luxury of a hotel for a fraction of the price, and it's better than jumping straight right into a hostel because maybe you're not comfortable with a hostel just yet, and maybe you should travel more before you get comfortable with a hostel. So our apartment is in downtown Berlin, really close to everything, and it's only $157 for 7 days. And these are activities. So these are the free activities in Berlin. There's a ton of free activities. I only chose 2 for you guys. One is, of course, the obvious, the Berlin Wall. It once separated East and West Germany, and it's now an artifact, and it's home to a lot of thought-provoking murals and great Instagram shots. So, and next you can go to Tiergarten. It's a really expansive park in the middle of Berlin, and it has breathtaking scenery. And here's some more activities. You can have a yoga class and go swimming in a pool that's right in the middle of the river in Berlin. Or you can take a chocolate cooking course at the #3 restaurant in Berlin called Fassbinder and Rausch. Also, you can go on a Berlin city bus tour, which is imperative and informative if it's your first time visiting, and it's only $32. And from the first day of spring to the last day of fall, Berlin has a lot of open air activities. Since in the winter it's freezing cold, the second that they get warm weather, they love being outside. So there's a lot of free things to do outside, and this is only $9 to watch a movie outside. It's pretty cool.
Nice.
And if you're feeling adventurous, you can go base jumping in the middle of Alexanderplatz, which is really close to your Airbnb hotel, and it's only $69. And also for $25, you can visit Museum Island, which is the home of 5 museums in the middle of Berlin. And then last but not least is the Berlin Tower. It takes you 1,200 feet into the sky, overlooking Berlin, and it has a bar and a restaurant in the top. So if you're not afraid of heights, go ahead and have some delicious food at the top of Berlin. And lastly is our food. It's important to locate a grocery store whenever you land and whenever you unpack all of your clothes, because you can buy your staples there, your water, your fruits, your snacks, and your pasta. And instead of eating like mediocre food every day, it's better to cook 1 or 2 meals every day and then do like the locals do and save your money to eat amazing food maybe 3 or 4 times. So I have you guys buying staples to eat, like fruit and chocolate and pasta and all this stuff for every day when you're going around. But you also have $70 to eat the delicious Berlin food. So altogether, you spent $995 and you had an amazing time in Berlin.
Awesome, 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 awesome. All right, so if you have questions for Jaleesa, you should, again, click on the Q&A box, and we'll get to them after everyone presents. Next, we are going to move on to Jessica. Jessica, you're still on mute.
Good luck. All right. So When Netflix with your bae just won't do, I'm here to show you how far $1,000 for a luxury romantic trip with your significant other can go. So here's the overview. This trip includes a flight to the Cusco region of Peru in South America, 5-star hotel accommodations for 4 days and 3 nights, as well as some suggestions for dining out, attractions, and activities. And of course, I'll note all of the resources that I use along the way to build the itinerary. So for the flight, we're all at Travel Noir fans of theflightdeal.com. I started searching here and found a round-trip airfare from Washington, D.C. to Peru for $400. Just to put that price into perspective, the same flight using the same airlines and the same number of stops, but booked in January 2015 would cost over $1,000. So you can see theflightdeal.com is really good in terms of helping you to find like a good window of dates for a particular location. In addition to theflightdeal.com, I also recommend looking into airfarewatchdog.com and TravelZoo Air Deal. So I subscribe to all 3 of those through my through RSS feeds in my Outlook inbox. So I would just take that deal, plug it into the ITA Matrix airfare search. This is basically it allows you to see price sensitivity for different departure dates and different durations for trips. So I would just take that deal that I found on theflightdeal.com, go plug it into ITA Matrix airfare search. And for example, if I wanted to leave on a Thursday and stay for 4 nights, I can compare price-wise what that would be like versus leaving on a Friday and staying for 3 nights. Then once I found the itinerary that works for me, again, this is just a search and filter tool. You would use the specific airline details and the flight information to go through directly through a booking site. So here, this is just what that looks like out of the Matrix airfare search. I would just jot down the airlines, which are here, Copa and Avianca, and then the dates. And then I would plug that into an Orbit search, or you can use Kayak, or you can use any of the other airfare booking sites. And you can just kind of see at the bottom where I narrowed down to my preferred airlines, which I know are Avianca and Copa Airlines, and found my flight for $400. For accommodations, I always start with TripAdvisor. It's really good if you need to filter, like for today, you want to filter on a luxury hotel that's known for service, known for romance, or is maybe located next to a major attraction. You can filter for a 5-star hotel like I've done here. And I always am wanting to look at the most recent reviews, so within the past week or so. I want to know what other folks that have stayed in a particular hotel had to say about their stay. And I'm also going to look at the worst reviews, but that's just me. I want to know, like, what's the worst thing. It may be an amazing hotel, but a person had a bad experience in terms of service or with the staff. So I use TripAdvisor similar to the ITA Matrix search for airfare, in that I just want to know, what are my options. But when it's time to book, I go over to hotels.com because they have a great welcome rewards program that rewards you for every 10 nights that you book through their site. You get 1 free hotel stay. So as you can see for my trip, I found a rate of $228 per night, which comes to $114 per person. So now this is the luxe part. I'm just going to let you guys take in all this fabulousness, what $114 a night gets you.
Ooh.
Ooh.
That's all baby making stuff.
This is all baby making. I don't know. That tub looks large enough for 2. Indoor-outdoor pool for those Instagram photos that you want to tag to Travel Noir. Indoor spa for relaxation.
Amazing.
Formal dining, little bar action, al fresco. Now, I know what you're thinking. After looking at this, all luxury hotel, 5-star, you're not even going to want to leave this room. You're just going to start working on that baby. But since you did take that 14+ hour flight, I'm just going to put some recommendations out there for activities that you can do while in Peru. And so the resources that I used were, again, TripAdvisor is very good about ranking the things that you can do in a particular city. Viator, which is kind of like tells you all of the tours that are arranged in an area, so you can search there to find out. Once you find out what you want to do from TripAdvisor, you can use Viator to find out group-led tours and things like that from Viator. And also, I searched travelnoir.com and Nomadic Matt for reviews from other people that have figured out how to do the same thing for less. So, of course, you want to take a look at maybe an all-day tour to the Sacred Valley of the Incas in Peru. Or, of course, you have to get your Travel Noir Instagram pic of Machu Picchu. All this together, $976 versus Netflix with your bae.
That's awesome. Thank you, Jessica. So again, if you have questions for Jessica, feel free to head over to the Q&A and ask her directly. We are going to move on to the Asian persuasion, Quinn, who will be taking us over to China.
Okay, let me pull up my presentation. Okay. Screen share. Okay, you can see it pretty good?
Yep.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to start with my itineraries, Destination Asia for under 1,000. And we're going to go to Shanghai. It's one of the most exciting cities in China. And I definitely wanted to pick this destination because they have such amazing architecture and food and culture and a lot of free activities. So our overall itinerary, it's 10 days in Shanghai from November 20th to 30th this year. We're going to fly with Delta. Our accommodation is booked through Airbnb. And one main thing that you have to remember is that you have to book a Chinese visa when going to China, and that costs $140. So prepare for that about 2 to 3 months in advance before booking your ticket. And that's the first thing that you should actually do before booking your ticket and accommodations, because you have to have that to get into China. Some activities we're going to do is the Shanghai Museum, the ancient water cities around Shanghai, walking the Bund, the Park Hyatt Shanghai Spa. That's an amazing luxury experience, and a day trip to Hangzhou, which is another really cool town right close to Shanghai. Our food is at $17 a day, and the resources that I've used for this is Vader, Delta, and Airbnb. So we're going to look at the flight. And the way that I booked my ticket is using the Delta Sky Miles program. With that, you use your Delta Sky Miles credit card or check card, and with everyday purchases, you build up points. And so for people that use that card a lot, they can build up a lot of points to travel to many destinations of their choice. And a trip to Shanghai with the Delta Sky Miles credit card is $60,000 per route per way, so that comes up to 120,000 points. And I was departing from Miami to Shanghai and Shanghai back to Miami. And move on to accommodations. Now, my personal taste is usually it's authentic luxury. You know, I like to blend in with the locals, but I do like to experience, you know, the finer things when traveling. A little bit of that, and that's what I focus on my travel blog. Is a lot of luxury travel, a lot of hotel reviews and video tours. So trying to juggle the $1,000 and finding an accommodation that I would like was a challenge, but that's what I was, you know, tasked to do, and I definitely found something that seemed comfortable and was booked through Airbnb. Now, the location of this rental is in Pudong, which is the actual downtown area of Shanghai, and it's only for $32 a night. It's a shared apartment, so you get the master bedroom. You have your own ensuite bathroom. It's directly located next to the metro, so that takes you right into all the tourist spots that you'd want to explore while in Shanghai. And it has a lot of natural light. The it has some really good reviews, so this is why I chose this. And you can see it has a really nice green space at the bottom of the apartment complex. Now, some activities. I chose some free activities and some activities that you have to pay for. So, starting with the Shanghai Museum, this is a cultural activity. It's one of the largest museums in mainland China. It has over 120,000 Chinese relics. So you can really take in the culture and learn a lot about China while visiting this museum, and it's completely free. And then Shanghai has water towns that are around the city, and they're called the Venice of the East. And if you go there, you'll really see why it's called that, because there's canals cutting through all of the town spaces, and you can take a leisure boat and just tour that space. But you can also walk around. So taking the boat, that's charged, but walking around the water city is absolutely free, and you can definitely get that Travel Noir photo when you're visiting that area. Another really cool activity is walking the bund. Now this is, Shanghai was once heralded as the New York of the East, because back in the 1920s and 30s, and even earlier than that, they had a lot of trade, and they have a lot of Art Deco architecture. So the bund was essentially, I'd say maybe like the downtown space where all the high-rises were of that time. And you'll see a lot of really cool streamlined architecture, Art Deco styles, really Western styles. So when you go there, you're taken back to a time that's really quite interesting. And that's a free activity. You can walk. It's a good place to get some really great photographs of the old Shanghai, which is the Bund area, and then looking across the Hangpo River, which looks to Pudong, which then has all the new skyscrapers that Shanghai is so famous for. So another activity which I chose was the Park Hyatt Shanghai. It was formerly the world's highest hotel. It's now the second tallest. The first tallest is now in Dubai. But I chose this destination, this activity, because, like I said, I really like the luxury activities. And I chose a day at the Park Hyatt, starting with a spa treatment and also afternoon tea, and that comes in at $150. Now that's a definite splurge, but if you look at the image, the bottom image to the left, showing that view, I mean, is incredible. The views that you get, the experience that you have, it's second to none, and it's something that you can definitely share with people and through Instagram, and it's something that you'll enjoy. The final activity is a day trip to Hangzhou. Now this city, or this town, was visited by Marco Polo, a famed explorer, and he called this area heaven on earth because he thought it was so beautiful. And that activity to go there is $170. So we move on to food. I wanted this trip to be all about the local foods. I'm not much of a cook, so I definitely chose to eat out every day, and I broke the itinerary for the food down to spending between $1.95 to $5.69 for breakfast, because you can get a lot of street food that costs little to none. I mean, it's so cheap that you can afford 10 days without breaking bank on food. So it gets progressively more. Lunch costs then about $3 to $7, and then dinner starts at $4 to about $10. And one of the main street food places that's really popular is the Wangjing Road. And this is a place where you can enjoy all of the different delicacies that Shanghai has to offer. And the total for the trip comes up to $963.90. And it's a great itinerary, so I definitely recommend you researching the Asia getaway.
Awesome. Thank you, Quinn. So if anybody has any questions for Quinn, hop into the Q&A and ask your questions there. Now, last but not least, everybody get ready. Anthony has his group getaway, so we're going to go over to Anthony.
Come on.
Thank you, Zim, for building up the hype. I appreciate that. I now have to live up to the prior 4 and deliver this amazing group trip. Now I just need to reopen my presentation because it's broken now. And we're back. Can you see my screen?
We can see your screen. There you go. Perfect.
Excellent. So we're getting to this epic group trip with you plus 11 of your friends. So overall, we're leaving from LAX and we're going to Costa Rica. And you're going to be in an epic location, having epic accommodations, doing epic things with your 11 friends. And let's just get right into it. So the flight was booked with Orbitz.com. And as you can see, we found an amazing deal to get to Costa Rica for $349.
From LA.
From LA. However, you have 8 hours in Mexico City. So what are we going to do with that 8 hours? We're going to get outside of the airport and do a food tour in downtown Mexico City. So not only do you get to Costa Rica, but you also get some authentic Mexican cuisine in between.
One of the things I want to say about Viable, which is a really cool resource for those who aren't really familiar, Viable is sort of like Airbnb for tours. So if you want to do something with somebody local in a new city, you go to Viable.com. There's like food tours. There are, people who will take you around to all of the art spots in the city. Local artists will take you around. So it's a really cool website. People should check it out if you're looking for things to do that are relatively authentic.
Absolutely. So now that you've been put in a food coma, you can sleep the rest of your flight over down to Costa Rica. And here's where you will be staying. This is a private villa on top of a hill with an infinity pool with enough beds for you and all 11 of your friends.
Wow.
Let's just look at that again. So here's your view to the south. Here's your view to the south. You can see that the infinity pool almost looks like you're dropping off the hill. And it's just a beautiful accommodations. And you'll be living in a lap of luxury. We still have to show you a little bit more. So here's your view to the west. As you can see, you have a hot tub hanging out in the corner there with a couple of hammocks. So this is the ultimate relaxation accommodation. And you know what? You're only paying $90 a night per person to stay here. You will probably pay more at your local Holiday Inn, but here in Costa Rica, we're doing it right. Here's one of the bedrooms, looking gorgeous. Another one, looking beautiful, and close up of your hot tub and your hammock. So your activities in Costa Rica, specifically Nozara, and we're going to start you off with a sunset horseback ride down the beach, so you can explore the small town that you'll be staying in and enjoy horseback riding with your friends and good conversation, good times. Next, absolutely free, we're going to walk through the jungle. So you're not walking through the woods, lost. This is a self-guided walking tour of a path through a biological preserve, and you'll see some of the tropical wildlife, especially some of the famous Costa Rican colorful birds. And anytime you go to a tropical location with 11 of your friends, you have to have a beach day, where you're just beach bums all day and you don't really move from that spot and come back with a nice tan that your coworkers are jealous with for at least 4 weeks, and this is how you will procure that tan. So snorkeling, all you need is a snorkel, that you can find at your local Walmart and be able to swim. And all you have to do is jump into the water from the beach, and you'll see some of the amazing marine life in the Costa Rican waters in the Pacific Ocean. Also, when by a beautiful beach, we do this in Seattle quite often, we just have a bonfire. So being in this country with 11 of your friends, it's more about the quality time that you're spending with your loved ones than anything else. So this is the perfect venue and the perfect situation, the perfect scenario to do that. And for food, I am requesting you go to the grocery store and use the beautiful kitchen in your beautiful private villa. You can see that the Costa Rican grocery store has things that you're very familiar with, like Fruit Loops and Cocoa Pebbles and your normal produce. So don't be too scared to go to the local grocery store and have some of that comfort food that you enjoy back home. And also it saves you a lot of money. And all of this, the beautiful Costa Rica and your beautiful private villa with the beaches and the sunsets and the hiking and the jungle tours, all for less than $1,000 at $982. Isn't that wonderful?
Thank you, Anthony. So that is everyone. Those are all of our itineraries. They will be available for download a little later today, but you have to be subscribed to the list that is on travelnoir.com/TN1K. If you've already entered in your email, no need to fear. You will get your downloadable itineraries today. So we're going to move on to the questions. And so the first question that we have is, without using the traditional travel hacking, i.e. excessive credit card rewards programs or hotel airline loyalty programs, name a few other ways you can save big on international trips. Now, we covered a lot of some of our favorite resources, but throwing it over to all of you to talk about some of the other resources that you may use to score big on international flights. Oh, all of you, the curators.
Thank you, Zen.
Sorry.
So one of my favorite tools to discount my flights is simply getting paid for every dollar that I spend. And what I mean by that is you buy things probably every day. You buy food. You pay bills.
No credit cards.
No credit cards.
No credit cards.
No.
Well, you can do this with a debit card too. So we're gonna.
All right.
So just building up the points and putting those points towards your airfare is a pretty simple way to discount it.
Some other way to discount your airfare sometimes without all of the tricks really is, I mean, play around with your dates. And if you can, when available, try to book as far in advance as possible. Because, you know, especially with summer travel, the closer you book to, you know, your date of departure, the higher the prices of your flight will be. But, you know, if you have the time, try to, you know, look into booking in advance.
I was going to say the same, especially about international travel.
Yes.
Like if you book 3 to 6 months in advance, it just gets cheaper and cheaper. With my flight, it was $514. But I actually found it for much cheaper, but I didn't make the proper screenshot, so I had to do it over. But I found it for $450, so you can get from the United States to Europe for $450. If you book it in advance and you know the right websites to use, like Norwegian Airline will get you from, it's a low-budget, low-cost airline that will get you from the United States over to Europe for, it starts at $250, so. Yeah. You just have to know where to look and book in advance.
One of the other tools that I really enjoy is kayak.com/explore. It's a feature that Kayak came up with where you set a budget, so how much you want to spend on a particular flight, and it'll show you a map of the world, and it'll tell you from your starting point how much money it's going to take to fly to each sort of destination. So if you set your budget at $1,000 and you want to see how far you can go, and you're starting from LA, the map will show you how far you can go for $1,000. And so that's one of the tools that I like to use. I'm also a big Priceline negotiator fan. I will, because I'm typically a little bit of a last-minute flight booker, so I will go onto Priceline.com and name my own price. And so, for instance, a little while ago, I was trying to get down to Austin, and flights were probably in the $500 range from San Francisco. So I went into Priceline Negotiator, I typed in the most ridiculous price, like $10 or whatever, and I would work up from there, and I ended up snagging a round-trip flight, I think, for $230 maybe. So that's another tool that I like to use. Priceline Negotiator typically works the closer to your date as possible because the airlines are trying to get rid of their seats. So that's a tool I like to use.
Similar to what Zim just described, if you can see my screen here, you see a map of the United States. And this one is just the google.com/flights tool, and you just type in the dates you want to go somewhere, and it shows you the prices of everywhere in the world that has an airport. And if you know what date you want to travel, you can use this tool to just pick a location off the map and find out how much it is and compare pretty easily.
You said it's google.com/flights?
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, a tool that I use, the biggest part of travel obviously is the airfare for international trips. So when you know, all those recommendations that you guys shared, those tips that I do, but a way to save on the hotels is what I think a lot of us have chosen was Airbnb. When I went to Bali, I had this villa that was probably about maybe 2,000 square feet, all to myself. I was doing a solo trip, and the villa was about maybe, I think it was $55 a night. So that's one really key thing to use to save on the hotel experience and still get that really nice luxury, because you have a lot of good options on Airbnb that can be way better than a hotel that you can afford. So that's something to look into.
Awesome. All right, so let's move on to the next question. People are curious. How often do you all personally travel in a year?
Oh boy.
Should I start? I travel, it depends, probably between 2 and 4 times a month on like really busy sort of seasons. But then when I sort of chill out, maybe once a month or so. So that's me.
Yeah, I travel about once a month.
I think my travel schedule kind of goes and varies throughout the year, but for this year alone, I've been on over 20 flights already this year, like actually well over, probably over 30, and to 5 brand new countries that I've never visited before already. So
break that down into a monthly.
Yeah.
How often do you travel monthly? If you had to average it out.
If I had to average it out, I guess that would be probably about 2 to 3 times a month.
Okay. Jessica?
So I travel a lot less now than I used to. I probably travel about once every 3 months or once every 2 months, whereas it used to be more like once a month.
Got it. Cool. Jaleesa?
I travel 2 to 3 times a month. I moved to Europe so I could be in a central location and just travel all around Europe, because once you get here, it's really cheap to travel all around. So about 2 or 3 times a month to different countries.
Got it. All right, Anthony.
So I travel for work quite often, and usually at the end of my work trip, I tack on a personal trip. In the last 4 months, I've been out maybe twice a month on personal trips and work trips.
Got it. Now, for those who missed our Twitter chat. We had one that talked a lot about how to tag on personal trips to your work trips or how to extend your vacay. So feel free to hop on to Twitter. The hashtag was, Anthony, do you remember?
It's escaping me right now.
Okay. I will get back to you on that. All right, so we're moving on to the next question. Can you give us a few tips on how to get around the whole phone roaming and excessive international phone bills issue?
Turn off.
Turn it off.
Turn it off. Do not turn up, turn
that's
off.
Obvious one. That's the obvious one. But I've looked into, I've seen National Geographic. They actually have a lot of different programs for international cell phones. Now, I haven't tried any of the programs, but they look really intriguing. So if you check out on the National Geographic website, you can look into those cellular packages. Now, it looked like it was like not your typical smartphone. This was like a old style Motorola phone, but it works literally everywhere in the world.
Awesome. All right. Anthony, do you have something to say?
Yeah, so I am one of those rare people with a house phone, and my house phone is called an UMA. And with UMA, you get an app, you download to your phone, and now I can carry my Seattle house phone number with me anywhere I go and make calls off any Wi-Fi connection anywhere in the world. So if you have access to Wi-Fi, then you have the ability to make phone calls without being charged any of those fees.
Nice.
I have a cell phone carrier, and I also have a Droid. I'm one of those few people who doesn't have an iPhone. But with that said, whenever I have a Wi-Fi connection, I have free, and that applies anywhere in the world. So I have been able to call from the most remote areas in Asia for...
What was the tool? You sort of cut out.
It is a wireless calling feature that comes along with my data plan for my cell phone.
What kind of cell phone do you have?
I have a Droid. I have a
Droid.
I have a Samsung Droid.
Okay, cool. So the the tagging time off Twitter chat that I had mentioned a little bit earlier, the hashtag is TN time off. So if you hop into Twitter and you use that hashtag, you can find that conversation. All right, so this is a question that we already answered, but it's from Amber. How far in advance should a flight be booked to save money, because most of my trips are last minute? I think some of the tools like Priceline Negotiator, anything else you all can think of?
International should definitely be 3 to 6 months.
Yeah.
Now, for domestic, what do you think?
So,
well, Delisa, you wouldn't know.
So I have in the white paper, or it's an article that explains the best time to book a trip to each continent. The date or the amount of days in advance vary from place to place, even from city to city in the United States. And I'll make sure Zim gets this tool out, and they'll show you the best way or the best timing to book a trip to anywhere.
I think you should definitely just research the off seasons if you really want to maximize, the amount of money you want to spend. Look for the off seasons, definitely in Asia. During rainy season, it's raining a lot, and so you can get more cheaper deals with hotels, with flights. So look into that time.
Absolutely. All right, so we will move on to the next question. It is for Madupe. Madupe, and this is from Elan, sorry. Can you please be a little bit more thorough on how you navigated to get that amazing round-trip price to St. Lucia for $207?
Absolutely. So I used primarily the flightdeal.com, and what the flightdeal.com does is it makes you a professional troller. You literally, you roll out of bed.
It's so true.
You pick up your device, you head to the flightdeal.com, and you literally you see what the listing is for the day, and it can there are tons of posts and there are tons of alerts from LA to New York, from Miami, Dallas, Phoenix, everywhere in the United States. And what they do is they tell you, you know, Delta is attacking United's airfare, and they're dropping the prices from like last week, so head to Norway for this price, or, you know, head to Central America for this price. And basically that was one of the flightdeal.com alerts, was it said head to the Caribbean for less than $300 if you book in this time frame, if you book now, and if you book with, I believe they said orbitz.com, and you use, as Jessica explained, you use the ITA matrix to kind of pop up or find the itinerary, and then you head over to Kayak or Orbitz to book it. So I also know that the itinerary, I found that itinerary a few weeks ago, but as of last week, I believe Zim, the Travel Noir CEO, had also found the flight for about $270. So again, it's still under $300. So exactly, there are some examples popping up right now for the flightdeal.com and how the website works.
So essentially what you would do is you would click on a fare that you find attractive, and it basically lays out all of the instructions for you. So how do you search for availability? You click here. These are the sort of things that you use. It'll give you a screenshot of the actual price, so $416. So essentially you just go to this site. They post deals every single day to different parts of the world. And like Modupe said, you troll. You troll and you look for flight deals that work for you. A lot of times some of my vacations are based on whatever deal the flight deal has. So, you know, that's another really amazing tool as well. All right, so we are going to move on to the next question. This question comes from DJ Rob. There are not a lot of flights leaving from where I live. What do I do in this case?
Hey, DJ Rob, where you live?
Yeah. Find the closest.
Yeah.
Find the closest. Be flexible.
It really depends on where he lives. If he can take
airport.
like a bus or just drive to the nearest like major airport, then that'll be best for him. But if there's no...
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you.
I think that a lot of people that I've encountered have sort of thought that if I don't leave from my exact location, I'm not going to catch the fare. So for instance, I put up a deal where I think the deal was from DC to like South America for $300 or something. And somebody who was in Boston or somewhere north was like, are they flying out of Boston? And I said, you can take a bus or a Bolt bus or whatever bus goes from Boston to DC or whatever, find a flight. You still won't find a price that you'll still come in cheaper than if you were to, you know, find a price from Boston or wherever you were. So be flexible in the airports. A lot of times I look across the whole Western Seaboard. If there is a cheaper flight from Seattle, Portland, San Francisco, LA, San Diego, I look at all of those because essentially the price is still going to come out cheaper for me.
I actually know someone who lives in New York City and is flying Monday out of Toronto to head to Tokyo for 2 weeks because they were still saving $500 on the flight. Because it was easier to book from Toronto to Tokyo round trip than it was from New York City.
Yeah, it definitely depends on what region you're in. Like, I'm in D.C., and it's easy to get to Philly. It's easy to get to New York City. You can, like you said, get on the Bolt bus, take the train up, and as long as the total cost for you to get there is less than the flight would be from your direct city pair, you kind of just have to be flexible and make it work.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. All right, so this question is for the ladies from Tanya. Women, how do you feel about solo travel?
It's my favorite way to travel. I love it the most.
Love it.
Because there's something about traveling solo. You get to do whatever you want. You get to stay in one place as long as you'd like. You don't really have to worry about grouping a lot of people together or anything like this. And if you ever get lonely, you can always meet up with another solo traveler, or use the website that Zim told us about, Viable, and find some people to hang out with. So solo travel, I think, is the best travel for me.
And for everybody who is really interested in the sort of solo travel conversation, we also had a Twitter chat on solo travel. If you head to Twitter and use the hashtag TNSolo, you will find a really, really rich conversation on solo travel. All right, so we are winding down. In the last 5 minutes, we will take one more question. This one is, what are tips for shipping back gifts or presents from international locales? Any issues with customs or TSA?
You really need to kind of look into what the policies are prior to trying to ship. Additionally, I find that the individuals that are selling you the goods are really, really knowledgeable about shipping. For instance, I was shipping like 10 bottles of wine back from South Africa for friends and family, and the people selling me the wine were extremely knowledgeable about how to pack it, shipping costs, what you say when you check your cargo at the counter, what happens when you're on the receiving end, picking up your cargo in the States. So I typically use buyers and sellers as my resource, as well as checking policies online prior to shipping.
Yeah, I would go off exactly the same thing that Madupe said, because when I went to Cuba, I bought tons and tons of art, and one thing that you have to have is a receipt and a certificate from the actual artist when you're taking it through the airport, because they want to make sure that you're not like taking valuable goods from the country, something that's not historic. So definitely talk with your seller. Research online too, because that's where I found out that you needed the receipt and the certificate before leaving. I researched and I found that article online before going to the trip, before going to Cuba, and so then when I went there, I knew how to approach the seller.
Got it. Awesome. And then one last thing before we sign off. I get this question a lot, and I know all of you get this question as well. The question about language, handling the sort of local language barrier. What do you do to sort of recommend to prepare? I am a pretty spontaneous a traveler. I typically go in like hands first. A lot of times I can probably say hello and bye and thank you, and I'll just do sort of signing as much as I can. But on the safer side of things, I'll keep Google Translate.
Yeah, language.
Or I'll keep, like, what I'll do is on my iPad, I may translate a complicated sentence, like, I'm looking for this destination, I have to be there by 2, how do I get there? And then I'll translate it and I'll screenshot it, and then if I have trouble finding it, I'll just show that person in their local language. So what are some tips that you all recommend?
One of my favorite apps is called Duolingo, and it allows you to, through fun and games, learn some of the basics of very many languages, and I play that quite often. And right now I'm trying to get my Spanish together for this Costa Rica trip.
Awesome. So that is the end of our Google Plus Hangout. I want everyone, before we sign off, to give us your name again and where people can find you on social media. I will start with Quinn.
Okay, my name is Quinn Russell. You can check me out at Travelers Bazaar on Instagram. That's TravelErs, and Bazaar is BAZAAR. And also you can find my website, travelersbazaar.com, and through that website you'll see all of my social media handles.
All right, Madupe.
All right, so I am Madupe Sinui, and you can find me at Super Duper Sleepy on Instagram, SuperDupersleepy, Super Duper Sleepy. And you can find me writing article after article on travelnoir.com, and a personal travel website to follow, soon coming.
All right, Jessica.
I am Jessica Bell. You can find me on travelnoir.com, and you can find me on Instagram at Wealth Love Beauty, WealthLoveBeauty.
All right, Jaleesa.
I'm Jaleesa Monet, and you can find me at standbytraveler.com or on IG at standbytraveler.
And Anthony, who put up his
So yes, you can.
You got it.
You can find me below on Instagram at Think Good Thoughts and Twitter at Anthony-esque, and I'm in Seattle if you're around.
All right, cool. As always, you all can find me Zimism, who can spell Zimism, This chat will be available on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/thetravelnoir, so be sure to check it out. We will be doing a transcription of this hangout in a blog post, so check that out when it comes. And thank you again, everybody, for taking time out of your schedule to join. Thank you, all of our wonderful curators, for the itineraries that you presented. If you have any questions or anything, feel free to hit each of them up. And have a good Saturday.